Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Brandon from Audio Addiction going live tonight. We're going to be taking a listen to Redhook's newest album, Postcard from a Living Hell. I don't know why I put Postcards. Now it's time for me to look like a big dummy and erased the S in Postcards. But here we are, nonetheless. And now you get to see how the pudding's made, or whatever the comment is on that. But anyway, I'm very excited to get into this. I had a lovely chat with Emmy, their vocalist, and that will be coming out next month. But in the meantime, I had mentioned to her that I'd done some reaction videos, and ironically enough, we did it on Thursday night my time, Friday their time, which means the album was out when I recorded the reaction video. So I just said to myself, I might as well just do the album. So I am here, and I'm very excited to get into it. I had a great chat with Emmy. I'm very excited for that one to come out. But yeah, I wanted to go through the entire album. I really loved both Postcard and Imposter. And I just felt like, man, I should just give this entire album a full listen. So, going to be going through the whole thing. If you do like the new album from Redhook, I don't know why I was going to say Redhook. I feel like that'd be weird. But anyway, the links will be in the description to find out about Redhook and everything they're about. They are also going to be going on an Australian tour with our good homies in Belhaven. So, definitely check them out if they do hit your city. But yeah, either way, very excited to get into this. Another bit of news as well too, if you are watching this now, tomorrow I'll also be going live and I'll be checking out Brand of Sacrifice's newest EP, as well as Picturesque. So a lot on the table here, so I hope that you'll check out some of the content if you really enjoyed this. If not, you can watch the VOD very similarly to this one. But we are going to start off with the first song, which is Postcard XO. I had listened to this one already, as I mentioned before, but just didn't have enough time to edit the reaction video for it. And obviously, I'm going to be listening to the entire album, so kind of makes it a moot point because I'm going to be watching it with you guys. So again, very excited to delve into this one, and this is the first song called Postcard XO. So let's give it a listen. I like the grid. It's so tight. It feels very like Pierce the Veil-esque, and I love that. That little lead guitar riff, that's tight. chorus is so tight in this song too. I like the change up vocally in this last chorus. I like that halftime beat. Alright guys, that was track 1. That was Postcard XO. I really enjoyed this one. I think very similarly to as I mentioned in my reaction video that I made before. Obviously we're going through the entire album, but I think they hit a great stride point between like a Pierce the Veil, a Stand Atlantic, and I'd also say like a little bit of Bring Me the Horizon. Emmy and I were talking about how the first song that I listened to was actually Imposter, and that one didn't have as much like vocal grit as I thought it was going to. And then once I got into Postcard, I was like, okay, this has a lot more grit to it. It has a little bit more of a fun vibe to it. And I just kind of appreciated that over the song with Imposter. I feel like Imposter was a little bit more polished, a little bit more tameable, if I can even say that, really. But I do feel like that would be the perfect song to kind of get you into an idea of what Redhook is. But Postcard was really what kind of kept me around and obviously made me want to wind up doing this whole review, just because I think there is some interesting sounds that Emmy has. I'll kind of delve into a little bit of it. So her background was from like more of the hair metal style of music, which really surprised me when we did the interview. And now listening to some of these songs, it makes a lot of sense where they're pulling from that, or at least Emmy's pulling from that inspiration wise. And you can hear a lot of that kind of like, again, that sort of hair metal styling in terms of her vocals. There's a lot more like grit. There's a lot more like kind of rasp to her voice, which I think is really nice. But overall, really interesting, really heavy. I think it's a very good song to open up the album because I think it brings a lot of that energy that you would hope if you have just checked out this album off of a whim and you just wind up listening to the first song on the album, then this is a great way to kind of get you invested in it. Instrumentally, I really enjoyed this a lot. Very riffy, really fun. I think some of the things that I really enjoyed about this song were some of the lead guitar work that I don't want to say gets swallowed up a little bit, but I do feel like it's maybe just, it could also just be from YouTube, but I just love kind of the different melodies going on in the background that maybe you might not pick up on upon first listen. So really enjoyed that a lot, and just kind of enjoyed the overall like punch of the track. It's really got a great mix and master on it as well. I'm pretty sure I saw Sam Garano did some stuff on this album, so that would make a lot of sense. He's great. But yeah, I thought this song was a great opener, has a lot of aggression to it, and I think it perfectly starts off this record if you have not heard of Redhook. So definitely a good one. And we are going to move it on to the second track, which is Jabberwocky. So let's give that one a listen. Ooh.
I'm a little bit sick of hearing that I'm safe.
Oh, this is definitely different.
The bad things just can't get you, thanks. I'll deal with the devil that's creeping underneath my bed. For the one that's real, terrorizing my head. Did I crash land? Jabberwocky, in wonderland.
I like that little drum roll, alright.
Wake me up, 'cause this isn't real. It's just a bad dream. I cave in my chest, hell freezes in my bloodstream. But it's all in my mind, 'cause I don't believe in this Jabberwocky. say speak your mind, but I'm far too scared of feeling like a victim. I always
Definitely a
used to
little
play
bit
the
more
hero,
softer.
so let's pretend that's still who I am, not even face. Got an iron will, moving on most days that I don't crash lands. Jabberwocky, Jabberwocky, it would land. Jabberwocky, wake me up 'cause this isn't real. It's just a bad dream. I came in my chest, hell freezes in my bloodstream.
This chorus pops. I like it.
'Cause I don't believe in this Jabberwocky, Jabberwocky. Wake me up 'cause this isn't real.
Ooh.
Wake me up 'cause this isn't real. It's just a bad dream. I came in my chest, hell freezes in my bloodstream, but it's all in my mind. 'Cause I don't believe.
That was a nice transition too.
Jabberwocky, wake me up 'cause this isn't real. It's just a bad dream. I came in my chest, hell freezes in my bloodstream, but it's all in my mind. 'Cause I don't believe in this Jabberwocky, Jabberwocky. Is this a bad dream? I came in my chest, hell freezes in my bloodstream, but it's all in my mind. 'Cause I don't believe in this Jabberwocky,
I like this ending.
Jabberwocky.
That was clean. I like that. All right, guys. That was track 2, Jabberwocky, off of Redhook's newest album, Postcards from a Living Hell. I really enjoyed this one. I think this one was a little bit more, because I had listened to Imposter. I feel like this is kind of a good middle ground between Postcard as well as Imposter, which I really enjoy. I think the thing that really got me stoked about this song was there was a lot more like electronic elements in this song specifically. Definitely gave me a lot of like Electric Callboy vibes, as well as like Stan Atlantic, which I really have been enjoying both of those bands a lot. So if you do like that kind of incorporation of electronic elements within metalcore, kind of like almost like alt rock sort of sound, then this is absolutely some of these songs that you'll be listening along with me to as well. But I like this one. This one was a little bit more even keel. There was a little bit of screaming in that breakdown portion, and I think they did a great job of transitioning from that like bridge breakdown into the next chorus. That was really tight. I like how they kind of stripped it out a little bit at the end of the song, with just having kind of Emmy do just clean vocals and then also guitar. Really nice addition to that track as well. And I do think it's a good all-around track. So if you are kind of like you sort of like the heavy stuff, but you're like maybe a little bit borderline, then this is probably a really good song to start off with, because it does have those elements of heaviness, but also at the same time it's very melodic and really works. I love the low end that my good buddy Ned brings. I completely did not realize that he was in this band, which I think is awesome, because Ned and I go back, so it's very neat to see some homies still doing their shit and killing it. So salutes to you, Ned, if you wind up watching this. But yeah, I thought this one was really solid, really kind of playing more towards their electronic flavoring. And so if you enjoyed kind of like the moments of Imposter where it was a little bit more electronic, a little bit more like melodic, then this one is going to probably fit more in your wheelhouse. But if you're kind of like on the fringe, then this is also a very good song as well. I love Ned's bass playing in this song as well. I feel like that low end really helps out the guitar a lot, since they only really have one guitar player. But I know there's also leads on top of it, so I imagine it's just kind of like, again, just kind of layering within the song itself. But yeah, I thought this one was really solid. Enjoyed this one a lot. I think I'm excited to kind of delve into the ones that I'm not familiar with, so this being one of them, and obviously a large majority of the rest of the record I have not listened to. So I think this was a good starting point, and if you maybe aren't familiar with Redhook, then I would argue this is the best song to listen to thus far. So we are going to move it on to the next track, which is Off With Your Head, and this is track 3. So let's give it a listen.
I'm angry. Won't keep coasting the rest of this mess. I'm angry. That I feel so goddamn powerless. I'm angry. Everybody's dropping while locked in some distress. I'm angry. Go on and play. Your pitchfork to me now. Just like you just don't care. 'Cause you don't care. You only hate. Just wanna instigate a fucking police state. As a rolling off with your head. I'm angry. Self-righteous, tied the noose before you heard the plea. I'm angry. For a sick thing, gotta better get it 'cause you're something like me. I'm angry. Attack that taste and take down those who disagree. I'm angry. Just see you wave your pitchforks in the air. Just like you just don't care. 'Cause you don't care. You only hate. Just wanna instigate a fucking police state. As a rolling off with your head. And we've come so far to fall so fucking backwards. An epidemic of existential dread.
The drums are punching. This is sick. This might be my favorite thus far, I think. Is this like a riser or what? Oh, yeah, nice. All right.
Just don't care, 'cause you don't care. You only hate. Just wanna instigate a fucking police state. As a rolling off with your head.
Oh! That was sick. What? That can't be it. Holy shit, that went wild. Oh my god. What? That was so sick. Oh man, that was awesome. That was Off With Your Head. Wow, that one holds no bars. That literally gets right into it. But getting back to the song itself, I really enjoyed that one a lot, clearly. A little bit more aggressive. Actually, not a little bit more. It was far more aggressive. So it definitely kind of goes into that almost like new metalcore kind of vibe. Definitely gave me like some strong like Linkin Park feels, which I absolutely love Linkin Park. Obviously, rest in peace, Chester, the goat. But yeah, give me a little bit of like Linkin Park, like Danger Kids kind of vibes, which I have not said that name in God knows how long, but definitely has that sort of electronic feel to it. I like how Emmy kind of does almost this like rap kind of bit. Definitely pulling from like OG like new metal bands like Korn or like a Limp Bizkit kind of vibe. But I like how they switched up like that second verse. That was really tight. They kind of went with more of like an aggressive like punk beat. That's always really sick. I don't know why, but that just tugs at the like young kid in me, because I used to listen to a lot of like pop punk music. I mean, I still do, but I mean like Green Day, like the old Fall Out Boy, that sort of vibe. But yeah, I love that. And that breakdown, ooh, that one just goes off. And so I really enjoyed this one. High energy, high vibes, really aggressive. And I think they really kind of just turned the dial to 10 on everything. Like the guitars, the bass, the drumming has such a just insane energy to it. I feel like Emmy kind of goes off vocally. You could hear a lot of different like vocal layering going on in the track as well, which I really appreciated, because there were some moments where you heard her screaming, but then also at the same point they had like maybe some like other background screaming going on top of that, which is always great. Love hearing that. But as well as that, like the overall energy of the song just starts at 10 and just like breaks the needle off. So I thought this one was by far the best one that I've heard thus far on the album. Again, I'm a sucker for a heavy track, but I just think the energy was certainly there. And like I said, that breakdown just crushes. So this one was certainly a fun one. And I don't think most people would expect that type of song, especially after Jabberwocky. I feel like that one was a little bit more like pristine, a little bit more like neutral, and this one is far more in that sort of metalcore territory. So it's been diverse, and I think I've enjoyed that thus far, that they're able to bring different vibes and different kind of energy within the songs themselves. So really enjoyed this one a lot. I think for me it gets a 10 out of 10, but I mean, hey, I'm easy to please sometimes. So like this one a lot, and we are going to move it on to the next track, which we're right here for The Critic. So let's give this one a listen. This kind of has this like pop punk energy to it. I like it. I like that like bit crushes in. It's really nice. This halftime. Oh, all right. Nice little drum fill in there. All right, guys, that was The Critic. I enjoyed this one a lot. It was a little bit like more high energy, a little bit more like more pop vibes, but still equally, I would say it's still heavy. You know, it's still got kind of a heavy tone to it. I really enjoyed Emmy's vocals on this. I love when artists kind of have that sort of grit to their voice. I don't know, maybe I'm kind of a sucker for it a little bit. But I love that like gritty tonality, and I think it just kind of makes the songs a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more punchier. And so I just think it's awesome. It kind of reminds me a lot of one of my favorite bands of all time, which is like Pacific. They kind of incorporate that. Obviously, like Pacific is fronted by a male, so you know the gritty tonality is completely different, but I think that was kind of what I attributed to this song a little bit. Feels very Stand Atlantic kind of vibe, so if you do like that band, I feel like this song is definitely going to harken to you that much more. Love the kind of like EDM going on with it. As I mentioned before, it has that sort of like electronic core kind of feel to it. Obviously with probably like less breakdowns, but I like the way that they've been incorporating that sort of stuff into their music. I think it's very nice. It adds another kind of melodic dimension to the track that I think that you would miss it. I think if you didn't have it. So it's nice to hear it. I think it does. I think sometimes bands can kind of get to the point where it might seem a little bit overabundant, but I think there's a necessary point where it's incorporated into their songs well, where it doesn't feel like there's just like they're just taking all the weight and putting it on these songs. I think it very much stands on its own, but I also feel like it does benefit the song a lot as well. I just think it keeps that really fun, upbeat energy. That's something you can kind of, your brain can kind of gravitate towards as well. But yeah, I think it also accentuates the vocals as well, because it just adds this another like piece to the puzzle. I think another band that does that very well is like a Bring Me the Horizon. So, you know, I think if you're coming from that camp as well too, then you'll definitely be getting a lot of love out of this album, because I think it does a great job of mixing some electronic moments, some alt/emo moments, a little bit of metalcore sprinkled in there as well. And I think they just kind of put it all under this umbrella of like alt heavy music. So really thought this one was a fun one. Clearly I was just having a blast and continue to just get like absolutely just like super high. I feel like people probably know this, but I do have lights here, so I am just like absolutely just dying right now, and I can only imagine as we get into the summer, I am going to just be sweating my ass off. So very excited for that. But anyway, the song itself was fun. I think this one kind of hits smack dab in the middle for me right now. I don't think it was particularly a bad song, but I also think that it's like what you come to expect from Redhook, and I think if you like them, you're very much going to like this track as well. So we are going to move it on to the next track, which is track 5. This one is Imposter, and this one features Yours Truly, which is another great, fantastic Australian band. I know that they're currently in the States right now, and they're going to be going out on tour with another great Australian band, Trophy Eyes, as well as Against the Current. So if you go out to see that, that'd be really sick. I am trying to go to the Philly show, so hopefully Yours Truly, that'd be really sick. Anyway, they probably won't watch this, so it's just a shill for Yours Truly. But anyway, this next song is called Imposter, features Yours Truly, and I'm excited to get into it. Well, I've heard this one already, sorry. Should preface that.
Chasing your tails. Hearts change like the weather.
This is so melodic, and I love it.
Hearts change like the weather.
I just remember this chorus just absolutely crushing.
Freak me out. I can't help but think you must be an imposter. Inside out.
This build up, all right.
In the dark, trying to figure it out. 'Cause it feels like you're tied. How the hell are you not close? You freak me out. I can't help but think you must be an imposter. Started believing you would have to be.
Michaela crushed it on this track as well too.
Now every day feels like a twisted dream. Kinda like the human I want to, I guess. Hearts change like the weather. Can't change a heart if you never had one from the start. Hearts change like the weather. You used to freak, but now you freak me out. I can't help but think you must be an imposter. a skin that I don't. You must be an imposter, impossible as it might seem, or you remember me. The one you said meant everything. Freeze me out. I can't help but think you must be an imposter. Inside out, crawling in the dark, trying to figure it out. 'Cause it feels like
I like how she treats Michaela featured on this last chorus. So tight. Oh, there we go. That was the one I watched as well. So I feel like I have a little bit of bias for how much I enjoyed this one. But if you're just tuning in, this is track 5 called Imposter, and that one features yours truly, more specifically Michaela of yours truly. I thought this one was great. I think I'll even double down and say I think it's even better upon second listen. I think very similarly to Jabberwocky, I do feel like there is like this synergy between those two songs. They're a little bit more melodic. I think they kind of borrow a lot from that sort of Bring Me the Horizon kind of vibe and sound. Obviously not exactly the same way, but it does have that sort of feel to it, which I think is really great. Another band I feel like they pull from as well too is again Electric Callboy. So if you do kind of enjoy that sort of like, I guess it's like alt, like electronic sort of sound, then you're really gonna enjoy this one a lot. That chorus is massive. I think that was really great. Michaela's kind of inclusion in the song, I think she really crushed it. I do like the fact that you can really kind of differentiate in terms of the sound within the feature. Sometimes I feel like if you have like two female vocalists and they're both featured on one song, sometimes they can kind of have that sort of similarity. However, I feel like with this song, you can really kind of discern what Emmy does and what Michaela does. So I think that that's really nice to hear, as well as that last chorus crushes. I love the kind of, again, lead into the song, but then as well as that adding on Michaela at the end. I thought that was really nice. She gets to do her own kind of like vocal runs and stuff and makes the melodies a little bit more intricate, a little bit more interesting as well. So I thought that was really great. And again, really kind of enjoyed this one. Very similarly to Jabberwocky, I think it is one of the more approachable tracks on the album. So if you are a little bit like on the fence and trying to get into heavier music, then I think this song and Jabberwocky are great additions to that. And I imagine they do well because they do have that sort of more pop sensibility to not only kind of the song structure, because it's like verse, chorus, bridge, then final chorus with, obviously a different melody change as well. So that is a tried and true structure, but I do feel like they do bring a lot of great energy to this song, and I think Michaela being included on this song as well, I think she does a great job featuring. I think she does add a lot of additions to this track that I do think that if they weren't on it, then probably wouldn't have done. I think it still would have been a good song, but I think there's just this way of having features on and the way that they kind of make the song a little bit more interesting or diverse, and I think that Michaela brought that certainly. Instrumentally, I think it's pretty straightforward. I don't think there is anything to kind of really write home about it. I think this is more of more vocally strong. I think it just has more of a preference or lean to that. But overall, I think it was a very solid song. I think it's probably one of the more approachable songs as well, and really enjoyed it. So we are going to move it on to track 6. This one is Soju, and this one features Sly Withers, which is apparently, from what I've heard, it is a pretty large Australian band, which I had not heard of before. So I I will definitely be checking them out after this. But yeah, apparently they are a pretty big deal in Australia, so that's awesome. So we are going to get into Soju right now.
I don't express negative feelings very well, and as a consequence I'm going through hell on the daily. Maybe it's my fault, that's what I'm reading on the internet. These memes have got me all figured out.
Definitely different. I also don't know if this song is just turned down or not. It does feel very low. Oh. Yeah, he does have an interesting voice. You could definitely tell he's Australian. Like the harmonies. Yeah, these harmonies are tight. Oh, yeah, all right. We love a good sax solo, baby. That was very anthematic at the end. I like that. I think I can't. So the song was great. I don't know if it was intentional for it to sound as low as it is. I clearly, as you can tell, my volume is maxed out here. So I think it might just be a compression thing. But the song itself was very good. I think that Sly Withers offer is just a different kind of vocal tonality to this track, which I really appreciated. I also like that it wasn't just like kind of a one bar thing. I appreciated the kind of length of detail that they went through. It's a little bit different. This one has very much a kind of like sunshine kind of pop punk feel to it. So if you're into that sort of stuff, then this is right up the alley. I think it does in some ways feel a little bit out of place, just because it is kind of like a 180 on the album, which I think is nice because it is literally smack dab in the middle of the album. So I think it does break up the album in an interesting way. It's really got that kind of like atypical, like, pop punk music video where, everybody has like a party and is having a good time. So I feel like they definitely laid it down, both musically as well as like visually. But yeah, I thought Sly was great. Definitely has. I think if I didn't know he was in Australia, if I didn't know they were like an Australian band as a collective, I probably would have guessed that right off the bat, because like his vocals definitely have that sort of Australian tendency, which I don't think that if I listen to other Australian vocalists, like, you don't really get to hear that as much in the vocals. I do feel like Sly, for whatever reason, has more of that sort of sound. I think it really has a lot to do with maybe more so the like vowel pronunciation. I think that's where you can definitely hear more of that sort of Australian sound. But this one was fun, very vibey. I love the sax solo and then the group vocals, like the gang vocals at the end. That was interesting. I like that. You know, it kind of again checks all the boxes. If you are into more of that pop punk feel, then I think it does kind of hit all of those marks on that song. But yeah, this one was very much different from what I've listened to thus far from Redhook, but I think they kind of continue to impress me in regards to the types of music that they make, because realistically, I there are some songs that have similarities to them, but I don't feel like one song particularly sounds the same thus far. And I think that sometimes that could be taken as a negative, but I kind of like the variation between each song. Like, obviously, there is some sort of tie-in with everything, but I think overall it's been really interesting to hear, like, the different ways that they have that sort of Redhook feel to it, but at the same point kind of diversifying and trying different things out in the album. So really thought this one was a fun one, and perfect for like us in North America where it's going to be summertime soon. So this seems like a good one to bring out like right now, you know, getting into those warmer months. But yeah, this one was a vibe, really cool. And I'll definitely have to check out Sly Withers because I really thought they were awesome. And I love the harmonies between them as well as Emmy. I thought that was really nice and kind of understated, but it really works within the confines of the track. Very catchy, very kind of earwormy in that way. So really, really fun track. But we're going to be listening to the next one, which is track 7. This one is called Psych versus Psych. So let's give it a listen.
My psych, your psych, put him in a ring. Let him fight it out to figure out the state we're in. My psych, your psych, put him in a ring. Let him fight it out, but who's to blame for everything?
Oh! All right. Oh, those layered screams? What? This is so different. Oh my god. It has such an eclectic energy to it. Oh, we getting a breakdown? I think we might be. All right. The build up, the riser. What the hell is this? Very Electric Callboy kind of vibes. I like that. That's sick. Alright guys, that was Psych vs. Psych, the 7th track off of Redhook's newest album, Postcards from a Living Hell, or Postcard from a Living Hell. I don't know why I keep pluralizing it. I have a problem with that. I don't know. I feel like I might have a little bit of... I probably have a little bit of dyslexia, if I have to be honest, probably. But yeah, I thought this one was very fun, very interesting. Again, it kind of rides in line with that more electronic vibe. I think they really just kind of, again, went full bore on that one with more of the electronic styling of the track. Love that kind of like EDM riser, and then it really got more into the EDM kind of like rave kind of beat to it. Very similarly to that of Electric Callboy. I love that sort of vibe when you're able to kind of take something that would have been a cool, like, in theory would be very cool as an electronic breakdown, and I think that if you can incorporate it in that sort of way, where it still has that sort of breakdown feel but isn't done with guitars or whatever, or it did kind of feel that way a little bit, but I think maybe it might be guitars with some like synth dubbing over it or vice versa. So it was a very fun track, but this one kind of threw me for a loop. I almost didn't know what to expect. I was pretty much shocked from note 1 to the very end, but I feel like I kind of came around to it a little bit later on. But yeah, this one was a very fun track. I think it kind of meshes well with maybe like an Off Your Head. It has that type of energy to it. But as well as that, I think it pulls more in that sort of electronic feel, with the electronics being more of the main focus as well. But I think Emmy does a really fantastic job of kind of separating her vocal skills, because again, there were some parts with rapping in it. There were some parts with screaming in it. Some of those dubbed screams, like those low ends, wild. So I think that was great. As well as that, again, a lot more of that electronic focus to the track. But yeah, this one really brought the energy. I think a lot of people are going to be shocked by this song, certainly if they haven't already listened to it yet. But yeah, this one was absolutely a fun vibe. I would say this was pretty close to one of my favorites, just because for the sheer fact that I was just kind of surprised throughout the entirety of it. So just a good track, and I think it will definitely be getting your attention, because I think they really kind of went all over the map with this one. I think they kind of catered to a bunch of different genres and feel, and so I thought this one was a very fun track, and one I would recommend people to listen to, certainly. It is a little bit different vibe-wise from the rest of the album, though I do think that practically all of the songs don't sound similar to each other. I think the only thing that I could kind of relate song to song to is more so like Imposter and Jabberwocky. I feel like those two kind of have that sort of connective synergy, as I mentioned before, but beyond that, thus far, I feel like each song has their own individual feel and vibe to it. So we are going to move it on to the next track, which is track 8, and this one is called Low Budget Horror. So very excited. Let's give it a listen. Oh, and a music video? I love it. Or a lyric video, sorry. I like this energy. Ooh, those layered vocals, man, so tight. like that vocal effect. That's really tight. Sounds like it's pitched down an octave, I'm pretty sure.
Try to tear me apart like a river. The only shocking thing about this story's twist is rainbow, like you exist. I'm Nexus, is your troll too. Almost embarrassed for you. Fingerless prey threatening. Put enough time like nightmares. Come on and cast me in your full-time dream.
I like this open up. It's a sight. Ooh, alright. Oh, that's sick double bass. I like that. Oh, nice. Like that syncopation. Yeah, that was solid. I like that one. This was low budget horror. I thought this one was very good. Pretty, I would say, averagely straightforward. You know, I don't think there was any really divergence. I will say that's probably for the best, considering Psych versus Psych was a little bit way left to center, and I feel like this one is a little bit more even keel, kind of what you expect from Redhook. If you've been joining me thus far, it does just kind of keeps the same energy. I really like that. It does feel like this song might have been a little bit older in the catalog in regards to the writing process, because you can kind of hear a little bit more, I feel like a little bit more straightforwardness with this track, and it feels like some of the other songs have a little bit more of an electronic prowess to it, or are a little bit more melodically different. And I think that's probably just because I think this one is one of the more older songs. I would scroll down, but I don't want to lose my thing here. But I do feel like that's probably like we'll take a look. Why not? It's a year ago roughly. So I guess that would kind of check out. But in regards to the writing, I think that they have gotten arguably better. In regards to making the songs more interesting and I think pulling from different electronic backgrounds. I think that Emmy does a really great job within this song itself, despite it being kind of a little bit more on that even keel sort of sound. But I like kind of the vocal layering going on in this track more so than anything else. I love the way that they kind of, again, dubbed down kind of like they like did an octave version of it, and then they also did it again in this last chorus of the song as well. So it was a nice kind of, there was a nice little like things that they did melodically that I think carried over well within some of the songs that maybe they wrote a little bit more currently. But yeah, I thought this one was solid. Nothing too crazy to write home about, but I think this one was good, because sometimes like you get some songs that are a little bit just out there and crazy, and you need a song that's just a little bit more baseline. So there's nothing wrong with that, and I think it does break up some of the more aggressive tracks, especially again after coming from Psych versus Psych. This is a welcome addition to the catalog. So we are going to move it on to track 9. This one is called Intervention. So let's give this one a listen.
I think I lost my
And intervention, sorry.
to the poser with long hair. In the Frankie's phone, so yeah, I swear. And to think that I might.
This gives me a Billie Eilish feel to it.
I kissed the girl with champagne eyes.
Yeah. I stand by that. I think it's because it's also those vocals, the way that they like affected it. Oh, I like how it's following the guitar melodies and the bass melodies. That's so sick. Kudos. This is a very interesting track, but I think this one is very much up there in my favorites right now. Oh, this part gets me every time. I love it. So sick. What's that? Oh, okay. I was curious if it was going to go a little bit further on than that, but nonetheless, really great track. This one was track 9, guys. Intervention. Sorry, I just said intervention in the notes I had here. So obviously I can't read very well. I enjoyed the hell out of this track. This one was so tight. As I mentioned before at the end of the song, I love the way that the bass riff is then followed by the guitar riff, which is then followed by vocal riffing. And I think that is really tight. I very rarely get to hear that kind of sound, so that to me just like 2 thumbs up already. But as well as that intro is very cool, very Billie Eilish inspired. It kind of gave me like that bad guy kind of vibe, which I think is really interesting and definitely a fun musical choice. So I appreciate their the inclusion of that, just because I think it's so different and really vibey, and I think it also shows their attention to detail in regards to pulling from more like pop inspired music. So I think that's really cool. The chorus itself, really probably my favorite portion of the track. Really just kind of vibey, fun. Been really having just a good time, just like, again, mock air drumming. I am not a drummer, so my fills will not nearly match up to what actual drumming is, but I feel like I can kind of, I can crush it, the air drums. I'm hoping to eventually make it a way over to an actual kit. But I don't feel like the skills don't transfer very well, but that's I digress. That's something for another video. But the song itself was very fun, very energetic, definitely a little bit different. I like that it was a little bit more toned down. I appreciated the fact that there wasn't really any screaming. I think Emmy does a great job of, again, incorporating that like mild, like very, very mild kind of vocal rasps. And I just like that. It kind of reminded me of like maybe a little bit of a softer version of Postcard, which I really enjoyed a lot too. I'd say that's one of my favorites as well. But I think this one melodically was just very more. I would say it's probably the most different, other than maybe Soju. I think that this one has more of a kind of riffier kind of vibe to it that I think all of the other songs thus far haven't really had. I think the only other one that might give it a run for its money is probably Postcard. Those two songs I think have, like, in terms of like musicality, have been that much different. But I mean, realistically, they're pulling from a ton of different genres on this album, and if you've been here and listening to the entire thing, you can tell there's just like kind of a wider range of different music going on within Postcard from a Living Hell. But I really enjoyed this one a lot. I would say this one personally is one of my favorites just because I really enjoyed musically. It just, it kind of just set off the neurons in my head to really enjoy this one a lot. So I would say An Intervention is probably pretty close to number one. I think it might be. I'm just going to put it as a placeholder for number one right now. But either that or like Psych versus Psych. I think that was also a very good one too. But we'll go over some of my favorites before this video is over with. So rest assured, I will probably talk about some more of these songs a little later on. But this next one is track 10. This one is Inarticulate. This features our good friends in The Fame. Love you guys. I hope you watch this. If you don't, that's also fine too, but miss you guys. You're great. Come back to the States. We'll love to see you. But yeah, The Fame is awesome. I've had the lovely opportunity of interviewing them a couple years ago. And it was a great interview. So if you have the opportunity to check it out, go do it. But this song is called Inarticulate by Redhook, and it features The Fame. So let's give it a listen.
Fell into a hole.
Oh, nice. Okay, he's starting out.
Hit the bottom like a stone. Heavy, I should know. I got one all of my own.
I think I get myself some water.
I know what it feels like.
This is a 180. Oh, this is nice. I like this.
Lost a friend back when I was here.
This is wow. I like this one a lot. Oh, nice harmonies.
If only I had known all the answers. Took my friend like an aggressive cancer. It's strange how we're all dying together, thinking we're dying alone. And I'm terrified, just don't know what to say to convince you to stay. Now like I can't.
I love this chorus. This is so massive.
Hit the bottom like a stone. Heavy, I should know.
We should all start doing this.
I got one all of my own. And I'm terrified, just don't know what to say to convince you to stay. Now like I can't relate, but I'm capped at the knees, 'cause this evil disease won't let any good thing ever penetrate. Like my tongue twisted inside of us.
is great.
Quicksand, but I'm trapped out of words for it, inarticulate.
Oh, a little slide guitar. All right. All right, guys, that was track 10. That one's called Inarticulate, and it features The Fame. I enjoyed this one a lot. I had a little bit of a strong feeling it was going to be more like softer, a little bit more melodic, which, 2 for 2 here, which I love. But I like that the fact that it starts off with The Fame. I thought that was really, really good. I think it's a nice change of pace when I don't think you very rarely get like the guest feature to show up first within the song. So that was, I think for me, that was a first. I can't think of another song off the top of my head right now that the guest vocalist features first as opposed to like the main vocalist. I feel like the main vocalist of the band that the song is for, they're the ones who usually start the song off. So that was nice switch up. I like that. That's a nice change. As well as that, I think The Fame and Redhook just meshed super well in this song. The choruses just had this sort of high that you really just loved. And I think that The Fame as well as Redhook just have this sort of like synergy together that it's really hard to put together. So I appreciate the fact that they really just tried to just try to do what they could melodically with the track as well. I think that both Josh and Emmy have this way of synergizing together vocally that I really appreciate. You could really hear a lot of like, I don't want to say like complex harmonies, but you could really hear some really attention to detail when it came down to having the harmonies together within the song. So really appreciated that aspect to it as well. But another cool thing about it is that I like that Emmy kind of, again, went about the song without having really sort of any grit to her vocals. I think thus far, really haven't heard too much of that. Maybe the only other song excluding that might be like Soju and An Imposter. I feel like those are the other two songs where you might not hear a lot more of that grit. It's a little bit more pristine, a little bit more cleaned up. And I feel like this song specifically really kind of did a great job of articulating that. Literally no pun intended. I couldn't think of another word that worked, but inarticulate, articulate, whatever. I digress here. But I think that the melodies of the track really worked well together. I also really appreciate the melodies going on in this track as well. I think they're constructed very beautifully, and it just really you really get invested in the song, and I felt very much in the weeds of it by the end of it. I love the fact that the last chorus just has this push to it. It just really kind of sent the song in a beautiful way, and it definitely has a sound of its own, and I appreciated the fact that they went a little bit more soft on this song. I think that was a great way to kind of start to close out the album and bring it in with a unique way. So definitely pulling from a lot of those kind of emo heartstrings. So love that. So we are going to move it into the last track. I know I obviously don't want this to end, but eventually it does happen to end. So we are going to move it into the last track. It is track 11, is called Say. So let's give it a listen.
Go on, say what you wanna say, what you wanna say. As long as you agree, say what you wanna say, what you wanna say. As long as you agree with me.
Oh, riffs! I love it. sick drum fill. I like this. This has got some great fucking hooks. The vocal layering in this last chorus. Ooh. Oh, that was sick. Oh, that was great. Guys, that was the final track off of Redhook's newest album, Postcard from a Living Hell. This one, I really enjoyed a lot. Clearly, I was very much getting into this one. But, yeah, I thought this was great. Very like pop energy to it, very fun, like super hooky. I loved kind of the vocal melodies on this track, especially that last chorus where I feel like the layered vocals really kind of hit a little bit more. Always nice to hear, but yeah, this one had more of a straightforward feel to it, but I think in the best way possible. It just has this kind of like, again, you're just vibing out, having a good time, enjoying it, and then you just get these hooks, and it just crushes. The guitar riffs on this were so solid. Definitely something I really enjoyed. Again, reminiscing, at least for me, kind of more like a Don Broco kind of style. Like almost like, I feel like they also straddle a line as well too, in terms of like incorporating electronics, having more like funky kind of riffier beats. But yeah, this one probably one of my favorites, if not probably one of my favorites. I would say it's pretty up there in terms of the best songs off the album personally. But yeah, I think it ends it off in a nice way. I think it would have been very nice if maybe Inarticulate was kind of last song, because it is a little bit more like, I feel like it's almost like last song kind of vibe to it. Like it's hard to kind of put it into words, but it just has that last song kind of feel to it. But Say is like that like bonus track that you get on an album, you're like, man, the album's over, that sucks, and then it's just like, oh shit, there's another song that's so awesome. Like Say has that kind of vibe to it, so I think it has that type of energy to it. But overall, really enjoyed this one a lot too. I'd argue this one is probably one of my favorites. It just kind of checks all the boxes for me. I think Emmy sounds awesome on this. She has that like gritty tonality, but I also feel like musically it just kind of hits all the boxes for me as well too. And it's just fun. It really gets stuck in your head. You're just having the time of your life with this song, and I think that Say does a great job of closing out the record. So my overall thoughts on Redhook's Postcard from a Living Hell, I thought this one was quite a journey. I think that if you are a fan of like anything from like more emo alt stuff to like metalcore / like new metal, then you're gonna vibe out with this. If you're more in that emo alt sort of category, then you're gonna like that. There's songs that you're gonna like off this album as well. But if you kind of like all of those different genres, and some of the bands that I've mentioned throughout this live review, you're probably going to enjoy this entire thing. I think it pulls a lot from a bunch of different places, but I think what ties everything together is their like core necessity to have more hooks and more of that sort of like pop sensibility, because it does have this sort of, again, inherent pop feel to it, but also guised by like emo and alternative music and obviously heavier music, since I'd imagine some of your previous bands were a little bit more heavier. So I think it kind of straddles that line between that, and I think that if you enjoy a multitude of different genres, then this is an album I would highly recommend checking out, because it has a bunch of different feels to it. My personal favorites off the album, in no particular order, I really enjoyed Say, An Intervention, Psych versus Psych, Off With Your Head, and then I'd probably say to close it out is Postcard XO. I thought that was really great. And I'd say an honorable mention, I really enjoyed Imposter. I think that one was definitely one of the best songs off the album, because it just has these great hooks. But overall, I think it's one that you should really listen to from front to back. It has a bunch of different kind of coloring and flavoring going on within it. And I do think that some of the singles don't particularly give you a good idea. I think somewhat it does. But I think overall, like, it's pretty diverse and pretty eclectic in its sound, and I think that it really requires that full front to back listen. I already kind of implore that sort of thought process, because that's what I love to do when I listen to albums, but I really highly recommend listening to it from front to back, because it really kind of takes you on this nice journey. And I think that if you're not able to really kind of listen to it in that sort of capacity, you might miss out on some fun stuff that, you know, in terms of the songs that I've maybe recommended to you, that you might miss out on, that you might like, and that I maybe, you know, wasn't hitting for me, certainly. But overall, really fun journey, really fun album. If you can go pick it up, there will be links in the description to go check out Redhook. Certainly go give him some love. If, again, you live in Australia, they are going to be playing all over Australia with our good homies in Belhaven, so I'm very excited for that. Obviously, I don't live in Australia, but if I did, I would be going out to that show, so make sure to go see them live. As well as that, want to give a shout outs to Emmy for coming on the other day to talk about the album. That will be coming out roughly in about a month, so keep your eyes peeled. Once that comes out, I'll leave the updated link in the description as well. So please go support Redhook. They're awesome, and I think they're going to do some really, really good stuff this year. So definitely keep your eyes peeled if you haven't already. So hope you enjoyed this live review. As I mentioned it at the top of this video as well, I will be going live tomorrow to check out both Brand of Sacrifice's newest EP, as well as Picturesque's new EP as well. So if you like those bands, make sure to join me back for that, as well as that more reaction videos, interviews, things of that nature are always here on the channel. So I hope that if you enjoyed my love of doing these, and you're like, man, this guy I feel like I can vibe out with, definitely hit that subscribe button and become a part of the Audio Addiction fam. Would love to have you, and appreciate you for watching. So thank you so much. And again, want to give a shout outs to Costa Nostra for sending me over this album, as well as, again, Redhook for being such homies as well too. Really, really sick, and keep an eye out for them, certainly. So thank you for watching. Hope to catch you guys in the next video, whether it be live or recorded. I hope to see you down in the comments section below. Thank you for watching, and let me know what your favorites are off of Postcard from a Living Hell. Would love to know. So thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you in the next video.